Well, good morning. We are at Tasam Temple. Tasam is beautiful. This is a structure that is somewhat being put back together after collapse. There is a rebuild going on here that's quite extensive, and it's interesting to look at. But also looking at the work that has been done thousands of years ago at this gorgeous structure. I'm going to give you lots of wonderful close-up look at this. This is a very beautiful location to visit. Tasam Temple is built with massive stones. A tremendous amount of work went into this. And the height that they decided to make some of the towers 3 stories for that time to be built out of this size stone, it's a tremendous amount of work. Just look at this, beautiful. And you can see the supports that are up, securing the walls as they continue to rebuild this structure and support it. And I love the growth here too. Look at this just beautiful tree here. Look at this. Fantastic. This is the reason why I really find this trip here to Cambodia to be really just one of the most pleasant parts of my Southeast Asian adventure. Traveling here has been low cost. It has been fascinating. I have been saving money staying here in Cambodia. Low cost housing, no vehicle cost. I've paid this wonderful tuk-tuk driver $30 a day. He spent the entire day with me. This has been his job, has been spending the day with me. And just the nicest person. We've been going around to temples. We've been going to places to eat. He's been showing me some places in town. And then at the end of the day, he drops me off at the hotel. While we are relaxing and enjoying ourselves here at Tasam, I want to talk to you about a mistake that people make in investing. And this is part of a discussion that I was having in the comment section, where people were talking about why I sold my car instead of, let's say, putting it on an app service to rent it. I did rent my house, but why my car? Why did I sell the car? Why didn't I just rent that as well? Very good question, actually. We're going to talk about the differences between assets and liabilities, because a lot of people don't understand. They think when they buy something, they've automatically purchased an asset. It's not true. And I want to talk and explain the difference between the two while we look around beautiful Tasam. Yes, you are paying a mortgage. Yes, you are. But if you bought in the right area, an area that's growing and desirable by others to live in the future, you're also accruing additional value to your property. And as that increases, you're making money even though you're spending money on a mortgage. That is why, even though you might have a mortgage on a property and you might say that is a liability, it can be a little confusing for folks about liabilities and assets when it comes to real estate. Because if you're paying a mortgage and you're not receiving an income from your property, right away you think it must be a liability. That's not necessarily wrong. But at the same time, if the value of your property is going up, in the long run, when you sell it, it may have become an extremely valuable asset for you. The property value over time created an asset. But in the short term, making those mortgage payments was a liability, but you're also getting shelter from it. So sometimes the lines can blur a little, but they don't blur if you're renting the property and you're making money off it. That is part of how I travel. A rental property can be an asset if you're making money over the mortgage that you're paying for it. Otherwise, it can be considered a liability in the short term. In the long term, if you sell it and you make money off it, then you held an asset for some time. But if the city you bought it in decides to destroy itself, what happens to that asset? It goes down in value. Imagine starting a 30-year mortgage and then the property that you live in 30 years later has lost value over that time. That's painful. That's why you have to be very careful where you buy, because over time you say, that's going to go up in value. It's real estate. Not true. It depends on who the stewards are of that area. If the stewards of that area collapse it, you've lost. There are folks who buy cars, motorcycles, telling themselves that they are assets now, that they sit in their garage and they enjoy them. If they're depreciating, financially speaking, they are a liability. Now, why do I say it like that? Because if you're having joy from them, I don't want you to necessarily not have these things in your life. I'm not telling you to not have things in your life that you get joy from. I want you to understand what is a liability and what is an asset. I don't just want you to sell things because, well, that's just one extra thing that's depreciating in value. I'm losing, amount of money. I'll give you an example. I bought a beautiful motorcycle about, I don't know, it's probably been 15 something years ago, maybe even longer. It lost about half its value while I owned it, but I rode that thing all the time. So was it a liability financially? Yeah, it was. But it brought a lot of fun and joy to my life also. So understand the differences between your financial responsibility and also your responsibility to enjoy your life. I know many of you are saying, but what about crypto, baby? Crypto, NFTs. I will tell you that because I hold Tesla stock, I own some crypto. They own Bitcoin. That's the only I intend to buy. I just don't feel that anything that does not create a profit, anything that does not have a revenue that you can look at on a quarterly basis, then I'm not going to invest in it. I invest in real estate that makes me a profit. I invest in dividend stocks that pay me every quarter. And yes, I own some Bitcoin because I own Tesla. For better or for worse. But other than that, yeah, I wouldn't make any investment that you have. I would not make it more than 25% of your total investment portfolio. No matter what it is. I don't care what it is that you're investing in. No one investment should be more than 25% of your portfolio. Why do I say that? Because that way, if it screws up, you're not finished. Don't go all in on anything. Make sure that you have 4 different avenues of investment. 4 different. And that will save you in the rough times. So that if one of them collapses, okay, if one of those investments collapse, you'll have 3 others that held up over the time. You don't want to invest for decades and find out that you're all in, baby, collapsed on you. And there's a lot of discussion as to whether Bitcoin and NFTs are assets or liabilities. It's, again, I have a very simple way of looking at them. I look at them like art, okay? If you can find someone that's willing to pay more for them, then that was an asset that you held over that time. But if you can't, you held the liability. I would much rather hold companies that build a product that people want and people are willing to pay for, and that grow revenue over time that I can track and understand why I own that investment. When you buy things that you believe are going to go up in value, Let's say you buy sports cards. Let's say you buy other types of collectibles. They may very well go up in value. In fact, sometimes I consider these things to be art, by the way. Collecting art and a collectible to me is also like a piece of art. If you can find someone in the future that's willing to pay more for it, you held an asset. If you can't, then it becomes a liability. But what if you loved it? What if you enjoyed it? What if you enjoyed it all those years? I don't want you to just think of things as financial, because that's just not the end all be all in life. If you enjoyed it, there was value. Value to you, value to your soul, to your heart. Even if you lost a little bit of money on it, okay? You enjoyed it. It brought joy to you. What about paying rent? What about that? Is rent an automatic liability? Automatically. It's like there's no two ways about it. Think about that. Is it? Are you paying that because you want to live in that area and that's bringing you the ability to work at that right job? That job brings you more money? Well, maybe you can't afford the house in that area, but you can afford rent in that area. And that allows you to be close enough to get a great job, and you're able to invest money for the future. I said that specifically, and I'll tell you why. If you are paying rent somewhere and at the end of the year you have not been able to invest for the future, I will agree with you that you are paying a liability. However, if you're paying to live somewhere because you're getting a great job there and you're making money and you're investing for your retirement over the course of that year, you're net positive at the end of the year, that rent was an expense. Think of that differently than a liability. An expense that got you ahead. When you think about assets and liabilities, yes, does it depreciate or does it appreciate? That is important. Also, is it making you money? What if you're making payments on a car, but you're using that car for Uber and you're making money net positive? You've even invested into a retirement account. That's an expense. That's different than a liability. Is it a liability on the books? Sure, but it's also a write-off, a tax write-off. Think about things the right way. If you're not making any money from it and it's depreciating, it's a liability. It's not an expense. You got to tell yourself, be honest with yourself. No one else is going to be honest with you. Other people are going to tell you what you want to hear, okay? So you need to be honest with yourself. And to summarize that other part about joy, does it bring you joy? If it does, yes, on the books, it may be a liability. But you know what? You need to have joy in your life too. And maybe that expense that you have, it's doing that for you. Remember that if you invest in assets that go up over time, you will have a retirement for yourself so you can retire early, travel, and enjoy your life. If you invest in liabilities that go down in time, they don't even bring joy to your life. That money is basically just flowing away. That's all it's doing. Flowing like this water right here. Flowing away. That's all that's happening. I want you to make wise decisions with your money. I want you to invest in assets that grow over time. Stocks, real estate, things that will bring you value, and maybe a little bit of things that will bring you joy as well. There's nothing wrong with that. Ooh, look at how beautiful this is over here. The psalm is gorgeous. So overgrown. Look at this. Absolutely just beautiful. Several sections of it are being rebuilt right now, and these areas like this here that are still as they have been for who knows how many years. 1,000? I love it. I'm enjoying walking these back areas. There's a lot more people that are kind of 2 areas ahead of us. I'm way back here. I don't know, I need to keep an eye out for snakes. I'm gonna start making my way back there again. I appreciate you spending some time with me. I'm really enjoying my time here in Cambodia. I am. It's lovely. The people are very friendly. You know, I get flagged down. People like wave me down, and I'm like, why am I getting? So I tell the tuk-tuk driver, the person's like waving me down over there. I just want to see what's going on. So then we pull over, and they're like, did you want an iced coffee? I'm like, yeah, give me 2 iced coffees, one for me and one for the driver. It's just a very friendly place, and people are very kind. And there's a lot of folks that are getting out to enjoy Cambodia now. I've seen a lot of travelers from around the world, so it's a good time to come here. The prices are great, by the way. Fantastic. And there's a lot more countries after this. I'm going to be in Southeast Asia all year, one country after another. Come along with me. Like and subscribe to the video, and let me know if you visited the Angkor Wat complex of beautiful temples. Until we talk again, aloha.
Very good.
Ooh, yummy. Oh, look at that right there. Yum. Those look so good. Oh, the curry right there. Okay. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh, that looks so good. Chicken curry and some spring rolls. Delicious. Yum, yum, yum. Thank you so much for making these. Making them fresh like this. My gosh. Oh my, look at this right here. Oh, that looks wonderful. Here's the curry right here. Ooh, look at that chicken curry. Oh my, thank you, thank you. Ooh, look at that right there. Oh, that looks wonderful. Thank you so much. They just freshly made these right here. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. The mad dogs. Here's the mad dogs of Tassom. These vicious beasts await here to protect the temple. The mad dogs of Tassom.